Welcome to the Lazy CEO podcast, where Jim Schlexer, author of Great CEOs Are Lazy and founder of the CEO Project, features compelling experts and topics for CEOs of mid to large-size companies. Now, let's get started with the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another Lazy CEO podcast. My name is Jim Schlexer. I'm your host, and I'm the CEO of the CEO Project. So today we're going to talk about purpose. This has become a popular topic over time. People talking about purpose and what's your purpose, and I think it is appropriate for us to be thoughtful about the issue of purpose. And today I want to talk about the case for purpose first, for those of you that might think, well, I don't know if I need that. And then I want to talk about some specific ways that you can become more purposeful in your organization in a way that'll be beneficial. So let's just start with, the audiences that we're dealing with that care about this. And I'm going to say, kind of everybody does at some level, but I'm going to give you two specific audiences that are highly attuned to purpose. And that is, even three. Gen Zs. And this is a group, I think I've talked about them before, that think I can work anywhere. It's what makes them kind of fungible in terms of employees, because they have no fear about going to get another job, frankly, because they've grown up in an environment where jobs were always available. And those of us that have been through a couple of cycles have experienced times in our lives where jobs were less available. But this group has never experienced that. And so they go, hey, since I'm working, I might as well make a difference in the world in some way. And they believe that that should be unified with the place they work. And so they're looking for purposeful places to work. Millennials also have this vibe, but frankly, a little bit less so than Gen Zs. But they have an element of purpose as well. I don't think they're as sort of militant, as strong about it, but they do want to work in a place that has purpose. And funny enough, I'm going to give you another one, which most people don't think about from the purpose point of view, which is post-midlife crisis boomers, if you will. So, and I'm in that category, right? And there was a point in my career where we were talking about, what are we going to do next year? And we said, I don't know, we're going to do more than we did last year. And we're going to make more money and grow our revenue. And that's the plan. And I sat back, I think I was driving to work, and I go, gosh, is that what life is about? Like beating last year's budget? Is that why I got put on this planet? And it really struggled with like my purpose in life. And, for me, the question of purpose at work became a really present problem and issue at that time. So don't think this is limited to the young kids. There are some older people in your workforce that are going to be feeling this way as well. Now, normal move, particularly for boomers, is go find purpose outside the business. So in other words, they go, well, I obviously can't get purpose inside my business. I guess I'll go find purpose outside my business. And they become active in church or nonprofits or Boy Scouts or youth act, whatever the thing is where they find their purpose. There's a guy by the name of Bob Buford. Bob wrote a book called Halftime. And Halftime really talks to this, more the boomer side, but kind of everybody's going to have a midlife crisis at some point in their lives. And what Bob said, the subtitle of the book is From Success to Significance. And this is a guy that made a lot of money in the Los Angeles real estate market. A super successful broker. But at some point he popped his head up and he said, is this all there is? Just making more money? Is this what life is about? And, he transformed himself into a more purposeful, or significance, he calls it, lit life. And then he wrote a book about it, and then he had an institution. And I, went to this institution at one point, probably about when I was having my midlife crisis. And, I was looking at what should we do differently. And what you find in his environment are people that do one thing for a chunk of their career and lives, call it, I'm a dentist in Ohio. And then somewhere, whatever halftime is, they say, now I want to be significant. And they do something completely different. And I really thought about that. And I said, that's a giant mistake. Because why would you abandon a platform that you've spent your life building, the business that you've built, and not use that to create significance? And so I'm all about merging significance and purpose into your business and not holding it separate or different than, which is sort of the Buford model. So I think that's the case for it. Why would we want to have significance? It's attract millennials, attract Gen Z, retain them, and frankly, retain even kind of post midlife crisis people or current midlife crisis people that are looking for significance in their life. And they'll find it outside of work, or they can find it inside of work. Excuse me. Kind of an extreme example of this was one company I worked with. We had a chief legal officer, and he was a very devout Christian guy, and he liked the legal stuff, and he kind of made enough money in life that he finally said, you know what, I'm going to go be a missionary. And he left. That was it. He's traveling the world, being a missionary, because that was his halftime, as opposed to thinking about how do I build it into our organization. So we're all in a mode where we can build significance into our organizations. And I want to encourage you to do it for all the reasons I indicated. One, I think you'll be doing the right thing. Two, you'll attract the right kind of people. Three, you'll retain the right kind of people. Now, having said that, it's a choice. So if I had an environment, let's think Wall Street trader, where there is no purpose, the only purpose is to make more money, and it's all about the mercenary experience, well, guess what kind of people I'm going to attract to my organization? I'm going to attract mercenaries to my organization. If I have a greater purpose, you're going to attract what we call patriots, people that really believe in what we're doing here. Money is important, but it's probably secondary or maybe even third for me. It's more about getting something amazing done here. And so I think you're going to see a different kind of retention if you can find people that are in the tribe that buy into your purpose. Now, it'll mean that some people aren't for you. So I worked one organization that was a very, very strong Christian organization. And, if you were of that faith, it was an awesome place to be. There was kind of your tribe, if you will. But I got to say, if I was Muslim or Jewish or something else, I would not feel very comfortable in that environment. Now, they would say, oh, we're opening to all people, but I'm going to tell you, zero probability they would be comfortable. And so the choice to be purposeful in a particular direction, it includes a group of people that maybe you want, but it also excludes a large group of the population that don't buy into what you're trying to get done here. And you know what? That's okay. Because the ones you do get are going to be way more loyal, way more retained, way more committed than the mercenaries that are all about the Benjamins and not about the purpose. So, that's sort of the plus and minus on the retention and attraction side. But I think that's okay if you pick the right purpose and one that you and the organization largely agrees with. So let's talk about how you demonstrate purpose, right? I think the first one is you need to think about what that is. And let me give you a couple of examples. Let me say that. I'm going to start kind of at minimal levels of significance and purpose and moving to more significant levels of purpose in my couple of recommendations that I've got here. So at the lowest level, we're going to donate money. Right. And organizations have done this forever. They support junior achievement. They support Boys Club and Girls Club. They support the United Way. Whatever their thing is, and they make generic, let's say, donations to their community, to their environment. That's part of being a good corporate citizen. When you go to this concept of stakeholders, right, it's actually ancient, but people think it's newly popular. But stakeholders, include your community, include your charities, include other people in your environment, if you will. And so just straight up donations is a great way to, represent that and to have a benefit of your success, benefit people outside of your particular organization. So donations are great. Nothing wrong with that. A lot of companies set up foundations alongside their organization and they let the foundation give the money away. I'm good with any of that. But I will critique it in this way. Many times they are generic donations. They are not aligned with the greater business purpose and where you're going and the tribe you're trying to build. So you get this sort of version, Mach 1, Rev 1 generosity thing going on, but that's not purpose. Maybe slightly better than that is, and many times, by the way, these donations are determined by the CEO. And to some extent, they are used to build social capital in the community. So, Jim, who's a CEO of XYZ company, rolls in, he buys a table at the big gala that supports fill in the blank, orphans, women's shelters, whatever the thing is, right? But really, let's be clear about why that happened. Jim wanted to show up in a tuxedo and hobnob with the other, relatively generous people. So that's a me thing at some level, disguised as generosity. I think maybe better is, and I've seen a number of organizations do this, is a giving committee. And this is a case where the people in the organization decide where the money's going. Now, some CEOs are not comfortable with this. I've seen people try to do giving committees and the CEO gave it lip service, or he gave or she gave 5% of the giving budget, if you will, to the giving committee, and all the rest was still, black tie, tables at the gala. And so that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about almost all or most of the monies that are going to be donated to whatever charities in the community are determined by the giving committee of employees. This is a great way to engage the organization in where should we give the money. And I would even put a premium on, we're more than happy to give money to charities that our employees are involved in. So for example, let's say I give time at a soup kitchen, and I said, hey, I want to get some money for this soup kitchen. If we've got employees that are donating time, donating money on top of that is a great combination. So time and money gets extra, time and treasure, if you will, give extra leverage in the giving committee's consideration. But more than that, the giving committee is connected to the community. And so their ability to figure out what's important and give to sort of hot spots, need points in the community is better than, frankly, a slightly less connected CEO. All right, we're just not quite as in touch to what's going on with reality as, people that are living a life, and particularly 8 or 5 or 10 people living a life and seeing things in their swim through life that they go, you know what? Why is that? We could help, our organization could help that. You'd be amazed though at sort of the pride that people take in. My organization did well, took a chunk of that money and gave it to things that are important in the community, and we made a difference, right? So you can see now we're building our activity connecting to purpose and helping people that I might actually know or I think are important in our community. Related to that, and let me just carry on that for a second. Some organizations have extended this to almost a viral model of a giving committee. And what they'll do is they'll say, if you give money to a charity, we match it. So this is an interesting way of essentially having everybody in the organization on the giving committee. So if I like Boys and Girls Club and somebody else likes a shelter for pregnant women, a single pregnant women, and somebody else likes diabetes, and they want to give $100 to it, we match. Now you may want to put some limits on it so that you don't blow your budget up entirely. But what I found, this is not a giant number normally. Most people are generous to a level, but not insanely generous. And so if you match, you can get really powerful stuff. And the people in the organization now feel like they are connected to the charity and you're supporting them in that effort. It is a great way to build team around purpose about being charitable. Going to the next level is service, right? So I talked about money, but we can also give time. And one simple move here is service days. So we all talk about PTO, we talk about sick days, we talk about stuff like that. But what about saying, look, if you want to go and give service to some organization, I will give you time to do that. For salary personnel in particular, this doesn't cost you much because they still got to get the job done. And if they go spend a half a day working in the soup kitchen or helping sort clothes or working with the Girl Scouts, they're going to come back with a whole different energy around work. Now, numbers that I see in this area are 2 to 4 days a year. So we're not busting the budget on this, but the idea that I can decide what charity I want to spend time on, I'm going to go put work on it, and my company supports me. Very big deal on that whole generic generosity idea. I also like team service. So this is a case where your HR team will organize a service day and people will go and do service for half a day of whatever. So that could be a soup kitchen. It could be Habitat for Humanity. On the bigger level, I've seen organizations support trips to do house builds in other countries. I actually did that with one board of directors. We traveled to the Dominican Republic and we built houses. I actually did it with the team at the CEO Project as well. And we built houses in the Dominican Republic, and just the bonding, the energy, the purposefulness of that activity cannot be matched. So I loved team service days better than I like individual day off service days, because you get this team bonding activity out of it. So let's get to where it starts to get really interesting, which is aligning our charitable giving to our business. And here you have to be kind of thoughtful to find one that really works. But ideally, the charity that you're going to support is aligned with the business you do. So let me give you, and it goes back to house building, but I worked with a company that was in the home services space for many years, and their primary charity was house building activities, Habitat for Humanity, trips to foreign countries to build homes. And it made sense, right? We're in the home service business, and we're going to then do charity in the form of financial donations as well as labor hour donations to that charity. It created immense energy around the organization on that topic. And so depending on, what your business is, I could imagine, a healthcare related business donating time in the healthcare space as part of what we do, right? So we're going to go spend time at Children's Hospital as a volunteer, and we'll do whatever they want us to do at Children's Hospital. Greet, or let's say we're in the elderly. We do products for the elderly. We're going to go work at senior centers and just give love in a senior center, or go sing Christmas carols, or whatever the thing is that is aligned with our business. Those are our clients, and we're supporting them through charitable efforts as well as our product and our services. So I think there's a lot of power in your giving aligning with your business as well. But this one takes a little more thought than stroking the check to United Way. But I think it's like 3 or 4 notches more impactful and powerful in terms of building your culture and aligning what you do to your charitable giving. Now I'm going to go to the top of the pyramid, and I should talk about B Corps, which I'll do in a minute. And this is where you build your charitable giving into your business model. So I give you a couple of examples of companies that have done this really successfully, and they get business because of their building purpose and their charitable efforts into their business model. So let's start with Todd's. So Todd's makes shoes, and their deal is you buy 1 pair, we give 1 pair away. And the shoes are fine. And then they give away, it's not the most expensive pair of shoes, but they give a pair of shoes away for every one you do. So and Seth Godin talked a little bit about this when we had him at the CEO Summit, Tom's. Thank you, Sharon. It was Tom's, not Todd's. I think Todd's makes toothpaste or something. So Tom's, Tom's is the one. He talked about it at our summit. People can feel good because of the purchase. So it's not a guilt purchase, it's a feel-good purchase because I have these snazzy shoes and I did good. Another one that does this is Better World Books. They sell used books primarily, but if you buy a book, they give a book away. Same exact model, right? So they're giving away, frankly, inexpensive, but it adds up to millions and millions and millions of books that they are giving away as a result of your purchases with that organization. Bombas is another one that you may know. They do socks. Kind of fancy, schnazzy looking socks. And they give a pair of socks away, I think, to prisoners primarily and homeless shelters. And it turns out the #1 requested item in homeless shelters is socks. So they are serving an absolute need. So can you imagine working at Bombas? You go, hey, we make socks and we market socks and we sell socks, but we make a difference to hundreds of thousands and millions of homeless people every year because their feet are warm because of what we do. Maybe I say, well, warm feet, big whoop. I'm like, you know what? Every little bit helps. So, and people go to those brands because they know of the purposeful nature of those efforts. And so that's, I think, kind of top of the pyramid. If you can integrate what you do into your business at the CEO project, and off the back of that conversation of halftime, we modified our purpose to impacting 1 million lives through improved business performance. So we're all about business performance, but you don't think about the people that are affected by it. You go, great, you help people make more money. No, we help CEOs make better decisions, and CEOs affect everybody in their company. So we, through our working with y'all, affect lots and lots and lots of people with better business decisions, more stable businesses, growth businesses, and that's good for everybody. And we keep track of this. It's a metric that we look at. We're probably at about 400,000 people right now, in terms of, the people we work with and the people that work for them. So we have melded, probably not as effectively as some of these others, but we've melded purpose into what we do. So it's not just about the Benjamins, it's about impacting people as well. So, that's kind of my rundown on purpose. I want to talk for one last second about B Corps. And some people may say, gee, Jim, isn't there a model for this about being a B Corp? And this may be a controversial position, but I am against B Corps. I do not think it is a useful designation. Why? Any company that wants to be charitable and sustainable in the way that you need to be a B Corp can do it. There is no reason to designate yourself a B Corp to accomplish exactly the same goals. And in fact, there's an organization that makes a lot of money on the designation of B Corp. So I'm going to say it's a little bit of a racket to get certified B Corp and have to pay for the privilege. And I'd rather have a C or an S or an LLC and just do the right things around sustainability and generosity. And I don't need to constrain myself, if I will, to the B Corp requirement. So I know that's not the most popular view. Everybody's sort of in love with B Corps and they think they're cool. I don't think they need to exist personally. I think you can accomplish. I'm not against charity. I'm not against sustainability at all. I just don't think you need that designation to accomplish those tasks. So that's it on purpose. I think there's a lot of scope here. And there's a whole movement of what's called conscientious capitalism. And there's a book on the topic too. But the whole idea is that business is a motive force for good in society. And we are. If you look at the developments, the improvements in our lives, in everyone's lives over the last 200 or 300 years, 95% of those come from companies, not from government. So improved healthcare, improved medicine, improved entertainment, more time off, travel, safety, all of it because of companies trying to do the right thing through their products, but trying to do the right thing. So my read here is we should accept the role of being important in making a difference. And I hope you all take that on board and integrate some purpose into your organizations, because I think you have an opportunity to do amazing things and amazing good. So on that note, I'm going to end. Thanks again for joining us on the Lazy CEO podcast. We will see you next time. Thanks a lot. This podcast is brought to you by the CEO Project. At the CEO Project, we work with CEOs to help them grow their business. And our members represent billions of dollars of revenue and profit. And frankly, amongst all of us, we've probably made every mistake in the book, including some you haven't made yet. So if you want to learn from the experience of a bunch of really seasoned CEOs, we're a great place to hang out. In this podcast, what you're going to hear are some of those ideas, concepts, and things that are just going to help you on your journey. If you want to find out more, reach out to us at theceoproject.com, or you can contact me personally at jim@theceoproject.com. Happy listening.
Thanks for listening to the Lazy CEO podcast. We'll see you next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes, and check out our website, www.theceoproject.com.